Dynasty vanished from the spotlight and reappeared behind palace walls, adorned in luxury, yet veiled in secrecy. Ri Sol-ju, once a young singer with dreams, is now the enigmatic First Lady of North Korea. Her life is a surreal blend of billion-dollar jets, sprawling estates, and designer opulence. Yet no one truly knows if she's living in privilege or imprisonment. How did she rise from the stage to a throne in the world's most secretive regime? And what price has she paid for becoming the wife of a dictator? What lies ahead will uncover a life far more complex and disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Let's start. To understand Ri Sol-ju's current life, we need to go back to who she was before becoming North Korea's First Lady. Born around 1989, Ri Sol-ju came from what most North Koreans would consider incredible privilege. Her mother was a high-ranking doctor, and her father was possibly a professor or military pilot. In a country where the average person earns just $3 per month, her family was part of the elite. But Ri Sol-ju wasn't just born into privilege, she was genuinely talented. She trained in elite schools, studied music, and may have even spent time in Beijing honing her craft. Her voice was described as mesmerizing, and she quickly rose to become the lead singer of the Anhasu Orchestra, an ensemble reserved for the regime's most elite performers. Here's where her story takes a fascinating turn. In 2005, she traveled to South Korea as part of the North Korean cheer squad. Picture this, a young, talented woman standing in front of tens of thousands of people, waving a flag and shouting, "We are one!" Was this just propaganda? Or did she genuinely believe in the possibility of peace between the two Koreas? Then something unexpected happened. Ri Sol-ju vanished from the public eye. When she reappeared years later, she wasn't a singer anymore. She was Kim Jong-un's wife. The transformation was so complete that authorities reportedly removed posters, CDs, and performance footage from circulation. Former fans found with unofficial materials were said to face serious consequences. Imagine being so thoroughly erased that your previous life becomes a state secret. This wasn't just a career change, it was a complete rewriting of personal identity. Do you think her story is one of tragedy, survival, or transformation? Or maybe all three? Drop your thoughts below. Here's where Ri Sol-ju's story becomes even more mysterious. Nobody knows the exact date she married Kim Jong-un. There were no wedding photos released to the public, no official broadcast, no celebration that the people could witness. Her debut as First Lady came quietly, almost incidentally, in a news segment about an amusement park opening in 2012. The announcer simply said, "Marshal Kim Jong-un and his wife, Comrade Ri Sol-ju." And just like that, she was introduced to the world. Some experts speculate that the marriage was arranged by Kim Jong-il himself after he suffered a stroke, seeking to secure the dynasty's future. Others believe it was a symbolic match meant to evoke the legacy of Kim Il-sung's wife, Kim Jong-suk, and strengthen historical ties within the regime. But here's the crucial point. There's no public evidence that Ri Sol-ju chose this life. Everything suggests it was decided for her. In North Korea, when leadership decides your future, refusal is not an option. Compliance is expected without question. This raises an unsettling question that will follow us throughout this story. Is Ri Sol-ju a willing figure in one of the world's most secretive states? Or is she simply its most visible victim? Before continuing, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, please hit the notification bell and subscribe. It helps this channel so much. And if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Now let's talk about where Ri Sol-ju lives, because the scale of luxury is truly difficult to comprehend. Her primary residence is the Ryonsong residence, a 12-square-kilometer secured complex just outside Pyongyang. To put that into perspective, it's larger than some entire nations. This isn't just a home, it's an entire enclave. The estate reportedly includes reinforced underground shelters, elaborately decorated banquet halls, a luxury spa, a private cinema equipped with cutting-edge technology, and even a horse track said to be built for Kim Jong-un's daughter. But that's just one location. Ri Sol-ju is also believed to spend time at the Wonsan Summer Palace, a seaside compound that serves both recreational and official purposes. This estate is reported to feature a superyacht valued at over $7 million, its airstrip, and a private island, sometimes referred to as the Saint-Tropez of North Korea. The contrast is stark. While reports suggest that a significant portion of North Korea's population faces economic hardship, Ri Soldiers' lifestyle reflects a level of affluence rivaling that of global elites. Her travel accommodations are equally opulent. She's known to travel aboard the Chame-1 jet, which features high-end interiors including rosewood paneling and crystal fixtures. She also has access to another private aircraft, a fleet of helicopters, and a custom Maybach sedan estimated at $1.7 million. To illustrate the economic disparity, with the average North Korean reportedly earning around $3 per month, that vehicle alone represents the equivalent of hundreds of thousands of months of income, spending tens of thousands of years of labor. But here's the paradox at the heart of it all. With immense privilege may also come strict limits. According to defector accounts and external observers, public appearances and movements by individuals in her position are closely managed, raising the question of how much personal freedom accompanies such luxury. From the moment Ri Sol became Kim Jong-un's wife, many observers believe that her life changed in ways that are difficult for most of us to imagine. It's reported that her contact with family became limited, and interactions with others, particularly men, are subject to strict protocol and oversight. She reportedly has no independent access to the internet or an unrestricted phone. Information such as newspapers or outside media is believed to be carefully filtered and approved by officials. Her public image, including her hairstyle, wardrobe, and demeanor, is said to be meticulously curated for state appearances. In many cases, even her remarks during public events may be pre-approved. Now think about your day-to-day life. The ability to call a friend, browse online freely, wear what you choose, and express how you feel. In contrast, Ri Soldiers' environment appears to be tightly controlled, shaped by expectations that prioritize the regime's image. Her public persona today is vastly different from the singer she once was. The transition involved more than just a career change. It appears to have been a deliberate shift in identity. Many believe that her former life as a performer has been systematically removed from official records to present a unified image of the First Lady. This level of oversight seems to extend to nearly every aspect of her existence. Friendships are reportedly limited to approved circles, and personal pursuits are believed to require sanction. Even emotional expressions such as grief may be shaped to align with the regime's narrative. The question that lingers is this: does Ri Sol-ju still remember the woman she once was? Or has the passage of time and layers of control reshaped her identity completely? Despite holding no official government position, Ri Sol-ju is often seen beside Kim Jong-un at major political events. She has appeared at summits with world leaders, military parades, and even during high-profile missile tests that drew international concern. Her presence is widely interpreted as part of a carefully crafted image strategy. In 2018, she received a new title not used since 1974, Respected First Lady. While the title sounds ceremonial, analysts suggest that in North Korea, such titles often reflect one's role within the regime, rather than personal empowerment. Rather than a symbol of autonomy, it may represent another layer of her highly curated public role. That same year offered a unique glimpse into who Ri Sol-ju might be beyond official portrayals. During a summit with South Korean President Moon Jae-in, she accompanied Kim Jong-un, and something unexpected happened. Her warmth, poise, and natural charisma surprised international audiences who may have anticipated a more formal or distant demeanor. She shared a personal moment with South Korean First Lady Kim Jong-suk, bonding over their shared backgrounds in music. Both women had once been singers, and for a brief moment, their interaction seemed to reflect ga-in-win, human connection. It was a rare moment that hinted at the individual behind the role. But this encounter also raises an important question. Was this diplomacy or was it deliberate staging? In North Korea, many observers note that even subtle gestures are carefully orchestrated. So when the world saw Ri Soldiers' grace and charm, was it an authentic expression or part of a meticulously directed narrative? Perhaps it was both. Even within a system known for tightly controlling personal expression, traces of individuality often remain. The deeper tragedy is that we may never truly know where the performance ends and where the real Ri Sol-ju begins. While many North Koreans face significant daily struggles, Ri Sol-ju has become an unexpected fashion icon, particularly in China, where her style choices are closely followed and frequently emulated. Pastel dresses, designer handbags, and luxury accessories often appear in fashion blogs, and imitation versions of her outfits are reportedly popular in regional markets. But here's where the contrast becomes especially striking. While Ri Sol-ju is seen with handbags valued at $2,000, reports suggest that the average North Korean earns around $3 per month. That means a single handbag could equate to over 55 years of income for an average citizen. The disparity is difficult to ignore. As she appears in luxury fashion, shoes and accessories that cost more than many citizens will see in their lifetime, organizations continue to report that a large percentage of the population lives in poverty, with limited access to food, medical care, and heating. Some human rights groups have raised concerns about the optics of her high-end wardrobe, viewing it as disconnected from the realities faced by the general population. Still, these critiques raise complicated questions about autonomy and symbolism. Is Ri Sol-ju personally choosing these outfits, or are they curated by officials to reflect the regime's image of power and prosperity? In tightly controlled societies, luxury can serve more than aesthetic purposes. It can function as a political signal. Her appearance may be intended to project strength, modernity, and affluence, both to citizens and international audiences. But this visual messaging can also generate discomfort. Whether the fashion choices are her own or carefully managed, they may unintentionally deepen perceptions of distance between leadership and everyday citizens. And that visual contrast in itself is part of the larger story. According to South Korean intelligence reports, Ri Sol-ju has given birth to 3 children, but only one has been publicly acknowledged, Kim Ju-ah, a daughter who has become increasingly visible in recent years. She has been seen alongside her father at missile facilities, military parades, and high-level events, leading some analysts to suggest she may be being prepared for a leadership role. This is a significant development in North Korean history. The country has never had a female leader, and the idea of a daughter succeeding her father would represent a major departure from long-standing traditions. Still, Kim Jong-un's public appearances with Kim Ju-ae have led to growing speculation about a succession plan, and Ri Sol-ju may play a central role in guiding that process. Reports indicate that Kim Ju-ae is being trained in areas like horseback riding, skiing, and diplomatic etiquette. Her education is believed to be entirely private, structured to prepare her for a high-preference role in the regime. Her appearances at military events have further fueled discussion about the leadership model she's being exposed to, one where state power is often associated with military presence. This raises complex questions about Ri Sol-ju's role. Is she simply raising a child, or is she part of a broader succession strategy? Is she a mother, shaping her daughter's future with love and care, or is her parenting deeply influenced by the expectations of the state? The pressure on both mother and daughter is likely immense. Kim Ja-il may grow up without typical childhood experiences, her path shaped not by personal choice, but by national legacy. And for Ri Sol-ju, the emotional weight of raising a child in such a tightly controlled environment is difficult to imagine. Still, one wonders what thoughts cross Ri Sol-ju's mind in quiet, unguarded moments. Does she dream of a different life for her daughter, one with freedom and self-determination? Or has the system shaped her worldview to the point where this path feels not only inevitable, but right? One of the most mysterious parts of Ri Sol-ju's life is her sudden, long absences from public view. She has vanished for weeks or even months, once for 39 days and another time for nearly a year. These disappearances spark curiosity and speculation. Official reasons often mention illness or family matters, but some observers believe they may be tied to political tensions or shifts in the regime. Over time, rumors have linked her past as a performer to internal power struggles. Though unproven, these stories highlight how tightly controlled and sensitive her position is. Analysts say even small actions, like facial expressions or past connections, can draw intense scrutiny. When she returns, some notable changes in her behavior, a bigger smile, standing closer to Kim Jong-un, or a more polished look. These may be efforts to reinforce her image. Despite her high-profile role, her presence is carefully managed. In North Korea, public figures have little control over their status, and that status can change without warning. Let's take a step back and consider the full scope of Ri Sol-ju's life. She resides in expansive estates, travels by private jet and super yacht, and wears designer clothing worth more than many people's homes. By material standards, her lifestyle is extraordinary. Yet, her freedom appears limited. She cannot leave North Korea without official permission, speak openly with foreign journalists, or maintain contact with friends from her past. Pursuing personal interests or expressing unfiltered emotions may also require state approval. In North Korea, especially at her level of visibility, divorce is virtually unheard of. If she were to lose favor, returning to a former life may not be an option. The same system that provides immense privilege may also impose complete dependency. This kind of dependency can be a powerful form of control. While others may face confinement through visible means, hers may come through privilege itself. The comforts she enjoys could also bind her more deeply to the structure that provides them. This leads to a powerful and complex question. Is she aware of the limitations surrounding her? Does she perceive her position as empowering? Or has long-term exposure to the system shaped her beliefs and identity in ways the outside world may never fully understand? Do you think Ri Sol-ju truly feels powerful? Or is she just performing a role to survive? Comment and chat with me. Sometimes the most revealing moments in Ri Sol-ju's story come from how the regime responds to perceived offenses involving her image. In 2020, South Korean activists sent balloons over the border carrying political pamphlets. Among them were altered images of Ri Sol-ju, a figure typically portrayed as serene and composed, rarely targeted in such a public manner. Reports suggest that these images prompted a strong reaction from North Korea. Soon after, the Inter-Korean Liaison Office, a joint facility representing rare diplomatic cooperation between North and South, was destroyed. The suddenness of this action surprised many observers and was widely seen as a significant escalation in tensions. Whether this response was meant to defend Ri Sol-ju's public image or to serve other political aims remains debated. Around the same time, Kim Yo-jong, Kim Jong-un's sister, was taking a more prominent political role. She had issued harsh criticisms of South Korean leadership, and some analysts believe she may have influenced the decision to target the liaison office. This incident highlights the complexity of Ri Sol-ju's symbolic position. She appears both protected and restricted, held up as a symbol of the regime's image, yet closely managed within its political structure. The liaison office's destruction also suggests how carefully Ri Sol-ju's image is woven into the broader narrative of state power. Criticism of her public persona is often treated seriously, reinforcing how her role contributes to the regime's identity and diplomatic posture. Analysts believe her personal life changed drastically once she was chosen as Kim Jong-un's wife. Her past relationships and routines were likely reshaped to fit her new position. Psychologists refer to learned helplessness, where people in controlled settings stop trying to act freely. Over time, constant direction may affect her ability to make personal choices. Some also mention Stockholm Syndrome, where individuals form positive ties to their restricted surroundings. In Ri Sol-ju's case, the luxury and attention she receives could influence how she views her role. Experts note a pattern called intermittent reinforcement, where occasional freedoms like public events or social interactions can make the overall control feel less absolute. Though we can't know her thoughts, her position likely comes with deep isolation. Surrounded by formality and surveillance, she may have little room for genuine self-expression. Her story shows how power, control, and image can deeply shape one's life in a system built on structure. Ri Sol-ju's public role raises questions about how her image supports the North Korean regime. When she appears beside Kim Jong-un in designer clothes, it sends a message of stability, despite reports of widespread poverty. Experts say her position may not be by choice. In a tightly controlled system, public figures often have little control over how they're presented. Her appearances may be more about survival than support. Some call this manufactured complicity, where people are forced to take part in a system they can't leave. Her polished image helps soften the regime's reputation and complicates how the outside world sees North Korea. This creates a moral dilemma. Is she a willing participant or someone under constant control? The truth is unclear, and that uncertainty helps the regime. We don't know what Ri Sol-ju really thinks. Does she see the contrast between her life and the lives of ordinary citizens? Has the system shaped her beliefs, or does she still have private thoughts of her own? Her role remains one of the most complex in the country's leadership. When Ri Sol-ju appears on the world stage, she becomes a powerful image tool for North Korea. Her elegance and charm help soften the regime's harsh reputation. At the 2018 Inter-Korean Summit, global headlines focused on her style and friendly gestures. For a moment, attention shifted from human rights issues and nuclear threats to her graceful presence. This shift is intentional. By making Ri Sol-ju appear relatable, the regime makes it harder for the world to view it as entirely hostile. Her image suggests there may be normal, even likable people within its leadership. But this is misleading. Her presence doesn't change the reality of state control and oppression. Instead, it shows how effectively the regime uses personal appeal to shape global perception. The media's focus on her also reflects a deeper issue. People are drawn to human stories, even in authoritarian systems. But this focus can distract from the suffering and serious problems those systems create. Subscribe for more untold stories about the world's most secretive leaders, because truth doesn't always wear a uniform. One of the most complex aspects of Ri Sol-ju's story involves her role as a mother. Intelligence reports suggest she has 3 children, though only Kim Joo-ae has been publicly acknowledged. These children are believed to be growing up within a highly structured and secure environment that surrounds North Korea's leadership. Kim Joo-ae in particular is often seen at public events alongside Kim Jong-un, leading to speculation that she may be receiving early preparation for a future leadership role. Unlike her mother, who had some experience of life outside the political spotlight, Kim Joo-ae is growing up entirely within the inner circle of the regime. Experts note that children raised in such environments often face intense expectations and limited personal freedom. Their actions are closely watched, and their futures may be shaped by state priorities rather than personal choice. Ri Sol-ju's position as both a mother and a public figure adds another layer of complexity. Balancing parental care with the demands of a highly controlled system likely requires navigating difficult boundaries between personal values and political roles. It's unclear how Ri Sol-ju views her children's futures. Does she imagine a different path for them, one that allows for choice and connection? Or has her role shaped her perspective in ways the outside world may never fully understand? Richest's story offers a broader view into how authoritarian systems maintain control, not just through visible power, but also through carefully managed perception. Her life illustrates how luxury and privilege can sometimes serve as tools of influence, where public status may not reflect personal freedom. Analysts have pointed out that her public role reflects how some authoritarian systems shape the lives of women in highly specific ways. Ri Sol-ju has moved from being a performer to a spouse, and now a public mother figure, with each stage closely aligned to the regime's needs and messaging. Her talents, whether in music, presentation, or diplomacy, are widely acknowledged, but rather than being freely expressed, they appear to be used in ways that support the state's image. Her visibility helps humanize the regime and create a more approachable narrative for global audiences. Some experts argue that this process of assigning value through utility to the state can create a form of indirect control. When someone's abilities are closely tied to public image, it can be difficult to separate genuine expression from state-directed messaging. That means sometimes people miscalculate and perhaps even make obscene and misinformed. The international response to figures like Ri Sol-ju also raises questions. We're often drawn to simplified portrayals of political figures, but situations like hers highlight the complex reality of life within tightly controlled systems, where personal agency, symbolic power, and public identity can all overlap in difficult and nuanced ways. As we reach the end of Ri Sol-chu's story, we're left with difficult questions about freedom and control. She lives in extreme luxury, surrounded by palaces, private jets, and designer clothes, yet her freedom appears limited. She cannot speak freely, travel without permission, or choose her path. Her world is comfortable but controlled, a golden cage that may not feel like one from the inside. Is she a symbol of power or a captive of the system? Perhaps both. Her story shows how authoritarian systems can blur the line between victim and participant, freedom and control. It also reminds us how luxury can hide deep restrictions, and how privilege doesn't always equal power. Behind the public image may still be the young woman who once performed on stage, but that version of her may be buried under years of control. What do you think? Is Ri Sol a victim, a symbol, or something in between? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories about power and secrecy around the world. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.